Welcome, everybody, to Broadcast Team Alpha, where we,
Recording in progress.
say it with me, bring you cutting-edge conversation while, ready, exploring the what? Yes, quantum possibilities. We're going to do it again tonight, guys. I'm Nori Love. My co-host is Augie Nost. We have a phenomenal guest that Augie's going to tell you about. But first, I'm going to invite you to connect with us, as I always do. But you know what? I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the love. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for the lively chat room. Thank you for the super chats. And thank you for all of the good thoughts that you're putting out into the world right now, because I know the energy of our listeners and you guys are amazing. And I know that you're adding to the peace that is soon to come about, right? So, talking about bringing things about, I invite you to come join us on Sundays for the Mastermind Connection. It's an hour of a guided imagery. And what do we think about? What are the images we look at? They are pertinent to the intention that we create before we go into our meditation slash imagery. Healing, the beneficence of the world, right? Bringing about peace, changing people in power's heart, right? Things like that. And together with the feeling of love and with beautiful visualization, we focus on these things, bringing them into the quantum realm and then awaiting joyously for them to manifest. In order to join us, you can send us an email to the mastermind connection at gmail.com. Augie will send you the link. You can hang out with us, see if it's a match to you. And if it is, I look forward to seeing you on many Sundays. You can also connect with us on broadcastteamalpha.com. And I see you all in the chat room. Hi, guys. Augie, will you please tell our audience about our lovely, wonderful, brilliant, funny returning guest?
Yes, I sure will. We have Ted Mahr returning to Broadcast Team Alpha. And this is going to be good because we're going to go deep tonight. We're going to talk about some of the things that most people are wondering about. We are going to touch on the Ascension process. And I haven't really cleared any of these subjects with him much, but he can go pretty much anywhere because he has been around a long time in this field outside of the box, helping and guiding other people to also have a better journey. So, but first, I'm going to talk just a little bit about him. He's well known. He is on radio shows all the time and conferences, and he also has a phenomenal radio show. And he's the host. He's syndicated in many countries and millions of listeners, 20-some million listeners. That's phenomenal. Gosh, can you imagine, Nori? Yeah,
40,
that would be
42.
something.
Last show was actually 41.
Oh, wow.
It's doubled since then. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway.
that's because he is syndicated into many, many different countries. And he's also a gifted psychic since he was a young man. And he will also, he has memories of many of his previous lifetimes. And that's something we may want to visit that. He is also an author, and he has written Messages from the Masters. That's a collection of channeled messages from previous people that is no longer here being people, but they are on the other side. And some of them are Einstein, Nostradamus, JFK, Gandhi, Tesla, and he also gave private readings. And at the end of this show, you will realize why it would really benefit you to have a reading from him, because it can open up some doors on some of the things that you have been wondering about. And his radio show is called Out of This World Radio. And it is, you can find it also on bbsradio.com on Saturdays and Mondays, and also Radio Soul International in German and English. And you can get in touch with him for personal readings at outofthisworldreadings.com. And now you want to hear from Ted. So welcome to the show again, Ted.
Welcome,
Hi,
Ted.
Augie. Nori, you guys are so nice to me. Thank you, Mac. Really appreciate being here today. We're going to have a great time, and I can really go anywhere that you want. I mean, I do a lot of time travel. I've seen into the future. I see what's going to happen. If it was a Monday, I'd give you the winning lotto numbers, but it's not, so we can't do that. But just
I told you, I already have the numbers. I just don't have the right week. So you.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, you just mentioned something about the future. Let's talk about that future. What can we expect? What is in our, well, if there is a timestamp on it, our immediate future or long-term future, what do you see?
First off, let me tell you that the decisions people make now can and will affect themselves and humanity for many tens of thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands of years. So you have to be very careful now. It's a time when there are tremendous opportunities, but there's also opportunities to go off in the wrong direction too. That's because we are at the pinnacle of the ascension cycle right now. There are 3 ascension cycles all meeting at once right now. The first one is the main ascension cycle, where every 25,800 years, this planet in this solar system goes around the central sun of the Milky Way galaxy of this, every 25,800 years, or what the Mayans would call one Mayan Katun cycle, there's an ascension. There's an ascension cycle, not only for this planet, but for all the other planets in this solar system, as well as the rest of this Milky Way galaxy and the universe as well. Now, I've been here for 2 of those Mayan Katun cycles, or a total of about just under 52,000 years. That's when I came here from the Pleiades to help with the ascension of this planet. And this planet, since that time, has gone through 7 different successive civilizations where they almost made it. This is the 7th one now. The past 6, they almost made it to ascension, almost got there, but failed. The negative stepped in and tried to and stopped it. And that's what you're seeing now. There's 2 more ascension cycles concurring at the same time, happening at the same time. This, the bigger one, is once every 2,000 years with a prophet like Jesus. It's no accident that Jesus was here about 2,000 years ago, give or take. And there's a 3rd ascension cycle, a smaller one, every 100 years. It's not an accident that the 20s, of course, in the United States and elsewhere, was a time of great cultural upheaval, music, all kinds of things, theater, movies, introduction of radio. So there's all these ascension cycles happening all at once. Now, it's the destiny of the people on this planet to ascend to the higher dimensions. That's our destiny. In spite of no matter what the negatives try to do to stop us, that's our destiny. And Mother Earth in September 2016 started ascending. She started raising her vibrations, and she is alive, and she is a she, Gaia. And she started raising her vibrations. She said, humanity, look, I've waited for you all these tens of thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years, and there's still a lot of laggards in you. So I'm just going to go have on my own. And if you want to follow me, go right ahead. Please do. I hope as many of you come along as possible, but not wait for you any longer. And since that time, the Schumann resonance have just gone sky high. And right now, we have only about 6 months left of 3rd dimension, 6 months. So for those of you who enjoy 3rd dimension, maybe you enjoy watching a good nuclear war on television, or watching Biden and Hillary Clinton doing mud wrestling. Enjoy it now, because after 6 months, after August, we will shift as a planet into the 4th dimension. And there are lots of different things I can tell you about that. And then we'll be in 4th dimension, my friends, for about 2 years, give or take, a little longer. And by the late fall of 2024, we will shift into the 5th dimension. And I'll tell you about what that's like too. That'll be amazing. But we're headed toward a beautiful new Earth. I mean, we truly are, where there will be no more wars, no more fighting, people will really truly be as one. And that's where we're supposed to be. All these things with the Ukraine, with the fake pandemic, all of those are distractions to get us off the main path. And for some people, it has been successful in keeping them off their spiritual path. And now I feel sorry for them, but they'll be giving another chance. I can go into that in a moment. But so you have to be very careful on what you do and what decisions you make right now. You have a battle of the minds on this planet right now, and you have two main groups. You have the good guys and the bad guys. You've got the good entities from the Galactic Alliance. This is a large group. There's other smaller groups, but this is the main group. It's called the Galactic Alliance of Interdimensional Beings. And that's who I'm in contact with. I'm also in contact with my good friends, the Pleiadians and Pleiadian Admiral Halosaurus. And that's on one side. And the other side are the reptilians. Now, it's kind of a loose term. They have a much longer formal name, but I've never bothered to learn it exactly, just because I know enough to stay away from them. The Galactics are based upon love and service to others, and peace and harmony. The negatives feed off of disharmony, war, fighting, that kind of thing. And there's quite a bit of history I've written about it. Sorry. And sorry about that. But
Okay.
It's like a battle of the minds in the media. So even today, I'm going to be careful what I say, because we are on social media, and social media is not 100% free. It's nice to have it, but I'll be careful what I say on certain things. But that's kind of an overview on the Ascension, what's happening now. And I can't wait. I've waited 52,000 years for this moment in human history, and we're finally going to do it. We are finally going to do it. Anyway, that's kind of an overview of what I see going on. We lost Augie. Augie, are you still there?
Yeah, I am here.
Okay, good.
Your camera is blacked out.
Yeah, I see. I am just. Okay, gosh, here we go again.
Oh, that's okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we hear you well.
Mm-hmm. You're fine,
All
Augie.
right.
Yeah, you could always just continue without video, and then see if you can just kind of.
Yeah, just continue, because hey, you know what I look like, so just keep continuing.
Right. But that's and as you go into the fourth and fifth dimension, you'll feel a lot lighter. Every year, I go to various spiritual places. This year, I'll be going to Mount Shasta at the end of June, and several trips at the end of August, and then I'll be going to Sedona early May and the middle of September. Tentatively planning on going to Machu Picchu in Peru in October, because it should be shifted in 4D by then, and that'll be pretty amazing. When Machu Picchu in Peru is in 4D. And also have another tentative trip to Mexico as well. But all that's been kind of held back during the scamdemic. But it'll change. Things will open up, and you can see that happening now. One of the things that I think is important with respect to the truckers' protest up in Canada during the last couple of months is that they've shown the way. They've led the way for the rest of the world to break free of the chains currently holding people back. And they got tired of waiting for the politicians. With all due respect to lawyers, for the lawyers, other people in the professions to stand up. They finally stood up on their own, and look what a wonderful difference it made. Now, of course, Trudeau fought back. Protesters got killed. A lot of them got beat up in Ottawa, and that's Canada's a country where they just don't have a lot of crime and people get along. But it was really shocking to the people up there, and I don't expect Trudeau to be in office longer than a week and a half to 2 weeks from this broadcast. And Biden will be removed as well within a week after Trudeau goes. Yeah.
Good riddance.
Yeah, good riddance. Yeah, he's fake. He didn't win the election. He's the best that Chinese money can buy, and he's not going to be very long. And people say, well, what can we do about him? For one thing, you don't have to follow his orders. If the election was purchased and nobody voted for him, then why bother? It's all fake. Everything is fake. Even the CGI screens where he gives news conferences and his hands disappear in the computer screens.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
But there's good things ahead of us, and I think one of the
dwell on that. dwell on that a little bit. What do you see in, let's say, the immediate future within the first 6 months to happen?
Okay, I do look at there's going to be some more conflict coming in the next couple of months, especially here in the United States with democratically run states like Washington State, where I am. It's bad here. We have a tyrannical Democratic governor. People will have to stand up and break free of the mandates that they've got here. They're slowly coming off. One thing that I've noticed, though, among the Democrats in the states, though, is that they've seen what's happened in Canada, and they sense correctly that people are had enough, and they're reluctant to push them anymore, because if they do, they'll be out of office. So they're walking pretty gingerly now. Even Inslee, the governor in Washington State, recently has relaxed some of the so-called illegal mandates recently. But I continue to see that trend go through May. And then they'll have they will try to institute some more controls at the end of May, which will fail. But in generally speaking, it'll be a year. It's kind of like a snowball going down a mountain, as from 1 week to the next, 1 month to the next, 1 day to the next. The power of the negatives will continue to decline. Now, they are doing everything they can to stop our ascension. And one of the things that they're doing right now, and I'll talk carefully since we're on social media, is that they've used the shot program to try to turn the ascension in their favor, to try to stop the ascension. And when people take these shots, what happens is that after about 5 or 6 months, their souls completely leave their body. They basically become a biological shell of what they once were, and negative entities come into people, reptilians, to take them over. And the reptilians are service to self. They often get very nasty. So people who take the shots, often you'll see personality changes with them because their soul has left. It's gone back to the creator. That's one of the reasons. That's one of the ways they're trying to stay here. And I've had a couple of friends recently in the last couple of months. They didn't take the shot, but they have changed quite a bit, where the negative entities have taken over their souls. And unfortunately, they didn't even realize it. So it's been kind of sad to see people I've known for years, light workers, who've suddenly turned and changed. There are other light workers out there, and for the sake of their privacy, I'm not going to name names. I could, but I won't, who are not of the light at all. They say they are, but they're not. And they just use it as a marketing technique to gain whatever financial or economic or social gain that they want from it, but they're not really of the light. And you can always tell people whether they're good-hearted or not by trusting your intuition. If there's two people have two minds, again, Nori and Mac, they have either a heart mind or a logical mind. The logical mind between your ears is part of the third dimensional reality, and the heart mind is always part of the new earth, the new fourth and fifth dimensions that we're going into. And the heart mind is always about 2,000 times stronger than the logical mind. So if you trust your heart mind, you'll always go right and make the right decision. Mm-hmm. I learned that a long time ago. I also ask, especially now during these sometimes tumultuous times, to ask for protection from the Galactics, from the Pleiadians, all the time. I can teach you some spiritual protection techniques if you like. What I do every morning when I get up, I put a cone of white light around me. Then I put a series of mirrors around me facing outward to deflect any negativity. And then I ask Archangel Michael to stand guard over me for the next 24 hours. And 24 hours is a key because they like for you to work for their protection. So I do this every 24 hours. And then I'll put in lead around me in my mind's eye, sometimes 90 miles of lead if there's a lot of heavy attacks, to keep me safe and protected.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. I've had to do that recently because I've had some threats in my life. So, but I'm okay. I'm all right. And I have a lot of angels around me. Nothing's going to happen. But, and then finally, what I do is I do the hue. The hue is a meditation technique. When you put your hand on your heart and you say the hue 3 times, it goes like this. It's the hue and human. Hue. Mm-hmm. Do that 3 times. It's a flag to the Galactics to come in and help you. And they will help you with almost
on your heart, right?
On your heart. Yeah, that's what I do a lot of times. So I'm completely protected. I know we're going to get through this. Things will get better this year as the year goes on. It's going to get better and better. But one of the good things about in Canada with the truckers is that the Galactics were waiting for us to step up to the plate and stand up to this tyranny, and we did. And now, because they took the initiative, they can come in on behalf of all of humanity and help us out, because they're very careful about free will. They don't want to interfere with our evolution and free will. They said you have to make your own choices. But once you make the choice for ascension and you ask for their help, they will stand by you and help you, and you'll get through it. You'd be surprised.
Mm-hmm. I was wondering about that. Yeah, go ahead, Nori.
There's a question in the chat room before we go too far away from it that asked, why do you use iron? Why not lead? Why lead? Why not iron or gold?
That's what my guides told me to use.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't asked them. That's a good question. Thank you for answering that.
I like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's I've heard tin works as well. I don't know. I know lead does work.
The other question was, can we help the people who have gotten the jab, our loved ones who have gotten it and changed?
Yes, you sure can. And I want to, this is a little belated, but I want to thank you all for inviting me on today. This is so much fun. And, I've had to deal with some difficult issues recently with friends, and it's not been easy, but it's nice to be here and your cheery faces. You can help them, and I'll give you some inexpensive free remedies right now. The first thing you can do is, if they're open to it, you can do a healing prayer, and this is from the Hollow Earth. And what you do is that you repeat after me. You count down from 10 to 1. You say the number 10, then breathe in and out. 10, 9, breathe in and out. 8, breathe in and out, all the way down to 1. Then you snap your fingers, and then you say, if you're a man, you say, from the God within me. And if you're a woman, you say, from the goddess within me. I command Supreme Creator. I'm going to go slow in case people are writing it down. And I command Supreme Creation to heal me from the effects of the shot and or shedding, because a lot of people are getting shedded out there and getting sick. And I am now completely healed, and I know it to be true. And then you snap your fingers. Nice. I've seen people completely reverse the negative effects of the shot and the shedding within minutes after doing that. But you have to have 2 requirements. Number 1, you believe in God or a supreme being. And number 2, you want to live, because some people don't want to live now. They don't want to be part of the new earth. It's tough here. They want to exit, and it's their free will. And they're using the shot as a way to exit this earth. Mm-hmm. There's other third dimensional remedies you can use, including making your own hydrochloroquine, HCQ. That's very easy to do. You take, if you can, try to get organic. But get 3 grapefruits and 3 lemons, or any citrus, including oranges. And you take the rind off the fruit, and you put the meat aside, and then you take the rind and cut it into small pieces and put it in a pan of water about 2 inches with water 2 inches high above it, and let it simmer for the afternoon up about 3 hours. And then you let it cool down, put some honey in it to taste, or sugar, sweetener, and then add a zinc tablet and crush it up, and just drink that as it's full of vitamins, and it'll protect you from the shot as well as any effects from shedding. A lot of people work in offices where they're in cities where people have been shedding and they get sick from it. That'll protect you. Drink 1 cup in the morning, 1 cup in the evening. That's from Dr. Lee Merritt, a wonderful medical doctor friend of mine. But you could do that. That really helps.
Yeah, I've seen that recipe with some tonic water added into it for the quinine. Yeah.
Tonic water has HCQ, hydrochloroquine, in it. Mm-hmm. But some of the manufacturers aren't the best. I picked up a whole case of what was it? It was Italian tonic water, organic, a couple of months ago. That was fun. That was pretty good stuff. But you can drink water too with the same thing.
That's great.
And don't go to the hospital, because what the hospitals have done, what Soros and Bill Gates have done, they paid the hospitals to kill you, because every COVID death, they will get up to $100,000 cash.
Who who gets that money? The hospital?
the hospital does.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm just a little confused because, and maybe you can help me with this, because the hospital's going to get paid, but it takes a doctor to write the order and it takes a nurse to carry it out. And I don't know any nurses personally. I know they exist that would do something to kill a person. So how does that really happen besides coding other deaths as COVID?
This is how they do it. They'll give you a fake test, like a PCR test, which is 97% inaccurate.
Right.
97% false positives. They don't even know what it is. They don't know what the virus is, but they'll give you this test. And so you get tagged as being positive. So they'll put you in the hospital, and then they'll put a ventilator on you to basically suffocate you. And then they'll give you a drug called remdesivir, of which Fauci owns part of the patent. He makes money off of it. And they don't give you a little bit. They give you an overdose according to the CDC guidelines. The CDC is a private organization owned by Bill Gates. So they give you an overdose of remdesivir. You go into a coma. You stop breathing. Boom, you're dead. Now, every COVID death, they get $39,000 right off the top from Biden's government. Okay, that's the first thing, first financial incentive. And then with the tests and everything else, my friends in the medical industry said they can easily add up to about 100 grand or just under 100,000 per death. So it's a great incentive for them to kill you or your relative. Let's say you bring your mom or dad in, and man, oh man, that's the worst thing in the world you can do, because they will try to pigeonhole it into a COVID death so they can earn the money. And that's how they do it.
Yeah,
The ventilator will kill you if you have the stiff lungs that COVID gives you. Then it will kill you. If you're a healthy person, the ventilator really can't kill you unless they turn it off.
Well, what they do is that they give you an overdose to remdesivir.
Right.
And so you stop breathing and you're DEAD. And the hospital makes all this money and they're so happy. I tell you, it's worse than what the Nazis did in World War II. And it's all in the guise of medicine, whatever that means. I've had a lot of clients call me and say, hey, my dad went into the hospital last week. He just came in for a checkup. They gave him a COVID test. He tested positive. They put him on a ventilator. They gave him remdesivir, and within 24 hours, he's dead. And a lot.
And I like to follow up a little bit on what Nori said. How in the world would a nurse or a doctor do this? Well, they are given a choice. You will follow procedures or you're out the door. Some of them will choose the procedure.
That's right. That's right. And it's the same thing with a lot of state governors. The governor in my state's terrible. You know, he ordered all these healthcare workers to get the shot or else. And a lot of them did. And a lot of them are dead right now, by the way. There's 3 levels of death with the shot. The first category is within about 10 days to 2 weeks. That's one group of fatalities. The second group is within 5 or 6 months where people die of acquired immunity deficiency syndrome, AIDS, or heart attacks. And there's a third group now coming up who get like mad cow disease. That's coming up now, or cancers. So there's 3 groups of death. Like Professor Luc Montagnier, Nobel Peace Prize winner in France, he died recently, by the way. He said that within 2 years, everybody who takes a shot will be dead. That's what he said. So
Well,
I don't look at it as doom and gloom quite that bad, because we are getting help. There are these inexpensive remedies. If anybody wants to write me, I've got a whole sheet of things that are free or inexpensive, less than $1 or $2 to help you. And if you ask for help, my email is outofthisworld1150@gmail.com, and I'm happy to send it to anybody who wants it. It's free. So
that's wonderful.
Anyway,
so
put that.
I have one more question. Now that there's major conflict going on around, what happened to COVID? Like, nobody's talking about COVID now.
Well, you can see how manipulated the media is.
My goodness.
And what they've done after the Canada truckers protest, Trudeau sent thugs in there. There were actually cloned clone police that they sent in from Germany and South America that beat up people, killed people. He didn't care. And the American media, the American media is bought and paid for by the cabal, by the evil cabal. So they're just not going to cover it anymore, even though there's still a lot of stuff going on in Canada. And they're afraid that that protest will spread to the United States, which it is. There's a big truckers protest now going to DC to protest the fake president. They're going to focus in on Ukraine and anything else that they can focus in on, divert our attention and put fear into all of us. Ukraine's is a big nothing. Nothing's going to happen of it. Instead of looking over here to the Ukraine, look at over here with the truckers convoy. Look at what people are doing to stand up to this tyranny. That's what you need to look at. Turn off the television and look at alternative media, and you'll get the real truth and the real news. That's why you're important. Your program is so important, and mine and other programs are too, because we give the truth. We don't lie to people. They do. They lie, but we don't.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm loving, and I'm sorry. The thing that I'm loving, and I only caught a small glimpse of it, is that the younger people, Putin's goddaughter is standing up against him, and those younger generations now are standing up against the war, and I love seeing that. I think
it's the conscious of humanity. That's the conscious of.
So
but I don't know. I don't feel like I have the full facts about the Ukraine to make an intelligent decision on, simply because I've heard that the dark hats in our government had created a biological weapons factory in the Ukraine, much like Wuhan in China. And I don't know what the truth is. If it is, then maybe it's a good thing for Putin to go in and take it out. I don't know. Again, I don't have all the information. And whenever I watch the mass media in the United States, I'm always wondering how much of this is real and how much of it is lies, fabrications. So I'm withholding judgment on Ukraine right now until I get all.
It appears that there is something to that, because even the media back there has said that there were 14 different sites that they have radiation around it, so that was bombed. So there is stuff going on there. But I think we should try to save our YouTube channel and maybe go to a different subject.
Sure.
I wanted to visit one thing that you said. We were talking about free will. How far does free will go? Will it reach all the way up to the point where, will the Galactics allow for us to destroy ourselves, or will they interfere before we get to that point, if we really screw it up?
That's a good question, Augie. Back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, they already answered that question, because they intervened at least a dozen or more times when either American or Soviet generals hit the launch button for nuclear missiles to be fired at either country. And they scrambled the guidance systems so that they wouldn't fire, the rockets wouldn't take off. And so even like with Fukushima, Fukushima was an extension level event, masterminded by the cabal. There was never an earthquake off the Sea of Japan. It was a nuclear device planted there by a cabal-controlled Israeli submarine that blew up on the ocean floor. And it was interesting is that the wave, the tsunami that hit the eastern Japan after that explosion, all the safety systems at the 4 Fukushima reactors were all shut down, and they were run by a cabal-controlled Israeli company, not just coincidentally. And they shut down all the safety systems. So when the water hit the reactors, the intention was for all the reactors to have the China syndrome, and melt down and put all this radiation into the atmosphere to kill off 95% of humanity, because that's been the goal of the negatives and the reptilians ever since they came here in the 30s. They've been here only since 1931. That's when they came into the timeline in Nazi Germany, interacted with Nazi scientists. And then once they were in this timeline, they went back to 9000 BC, just after the destruction of Atlantis, which was about 9500 BC, because the Atlanteans had very superior technology and they could fight them back. They went back to that time and altered our history all the way from 9000 BC to the present to make it look like they've been here all this time, which they hadn't been. So history is not all what you think it is. But as the vibrations of the planet keep rising, As we shift into fourth dimension this September, late August, September, and then into the fifth dimension by the fall of 2024, which has moved up, by the way, 6 months, thanks to the Canadians. We are ascending faster than they thought. The negatives will not be able to stay here any longer. Some people I know recently have been taken over by the reptilians, but unfortunately, they're not going to be allowed to stay here very much longer. We're looking at them exiting by August, September, and then it's because the Mother Earth doesn't want them here anymore. She's tired of getting polluted and exploited. You see, the reptilians are cut off from source. They're not tied into the Supreme Being, so they're always on conquest. They conquest planets. They take over civilizations. In 22 other star systems, they have taken over Earth-like planets like this one. And what they do, they come in, they offer benefits to the elites. Then in exchange for their cooperation, they extract all the resources they can, including our DNA. They treat us like farm animals or chickens or goats or cows, whatever. And then after they've gotten all their resources, then they blow the planet up. And that's what they did after they negotiated an agreement in March of 1954 called the Treaty of Merida with President Eisenhower. I write it in my book, Messages from the Masters, which is just now getting translated into German. It'll be released in Munich in a couple of weeks. But as a result of that agreement, Eisenhower agreed that the negatives would share some of their technology with us to fight the then Soviet Union, and in exchange that they would be allowed to abduct and study us. But little did we know that they had a lot of other plans ahead. After that agreement in 1954, the reptilians installed two. Oh, thank you. Hi. Thank you, Nohr. They installed an antimatter bomb about half the size of a railroad boxcar in the Congo. And what their plan was to blow up this planet completely once they've extracted all the resources. But God, or the Supreme Being who created all that there is not going to let that happen. So anyway, that's why they're fighting so hard for this planet, and they're trying to create a slave species like they've done in other civilizations.
When we're going through this ascension process, it used to be a slow increase in vibration, but it's accelerated. How would we know, let's say, when we get into that fourth dimension you talk about, and then the fifth, how will we feel the difference? How would we know that we have arrived there?
I'll tell you, you will be able to read your producers and Nori's minds just like that, and they'll be able to do the same for you as well. You'll find yourself just looking at someone and instantaneously reading their thoughts. Language will become secondary. You won't need to eat as much because you'll be living off the energy of the universe. You'll still eat. You'll eat socially, but it won't be required as it is now. You will feel lighter, much lighter. And your longevity, you'll increase. Eventually, you'll increase to 1,000 years and have the option to live up to 25,000 years if you want. Wow. I've been to many times to the hollow earth underneath Mount Shasta. And they are in the fifth dimension. And so that's the kind of world we're headed to. It's a beautiful new world. It's been waiting for us for such a long time. Yeah. And humanity as a whole, at one point, humanity on this planet was up on in the 10th and 11th dimension, right next to God. God's in the 12th dimension. But somebody had the bright idea that we all get together and come down to the third dimension and then relearn all of these spiritual lessons again and go up the ladder again toward the Supreme Being, or God, if you will. So that's what we're doing now. We're kind of like going in graduate school. That's why humans on this planet have such a swing of emotions. It's because we've been through this before. Other humans in other galaxies and other solar systems do not have the range of emotions or the DNA background that we do because they haven't been through as many experiences as we've had. Even the reptilians, who consider us like farm animals call us genetic royalty because we have so much in our DNA that even they don't have.
Wow.
So we're all sleeping giants. And once we realize that we're all powerful spiritual beings, we can turn this planet around in a good way in a New York minute. That quickly. Look what the Canadians did. One truck, a couple of trucks, one or two truck drivers saying, I'm sick of Trudeau. I'm sick of all these tyrannical mandates. I want our freedom back. Let's drive to Ottawa to protest. They were joined like by 15 to 20% of the population. They had that support just like that. Millions and millions of people donated whatever they had to stop it. And now I think Trudeau is afraid because he knows he's lost the battle. And if he pushes the Canadian people a little bit more, they're going to have the same thing all over again. The militaries in Canada has already said they're not going to back him up. So what Trudeau had to do, he had to bring in these clone police and clone soldiers from other countries because he doesn't have any support in Canada. His days are numbered. I don't see him lasting more than 2 weeks. Biden is sort of the same way in the same boat. And once Trudeau goes, Biden will go. I look at Biden being gone within 3 weeks or less.
Wow, finally.
That would be good.
This thing is such a joke. I mean, we're the laughing stock of the world. Look at, I mean, even Putin this weekend, he was talking to Biden, and Putin said, Biden said, I'm the president of the United States. And Putin said, you're the president of nothing, and then hung up on
it. Yeah.
Ooh, how about that?
Could you imagine Putin saying that to Trump? He'd have some muscle behind him because he wasn't legitimate. But Biden isn't. Biden isn't. And I don't care how many reruns on CNN and MSNBC they do. They're not going to brainwash me. I'm sorry. They're not telling you the truth. But we're breaking free, and humanity is becoming more and more powerful, and that's what the negatives are afraid of us breaking free, and that's why they're
another question for you too. You are in contact with and or channeling other disembodied entities, and possibly also entity that's never had a body. How is it that they live? What does it look like on that other side, or how is it on that side? What does it feel like?
Dream state. It's like, if you're talking about humans, they're like, it's like the dream state. It's like when you go to sleep at night and you wake up in the morning, Augie, and you feel very light. Okay. There's 3 levels of consciousness. There's alpha. We're in alpha now. Beta, which is right more just waking up and you're kind of not quite awake, but not quite asleep. And theta, which is deep sleep. It's kind of like being constantly in theta and beta.
This groundbreaking teeth cleaner.
You feel very light. You don't really need food like you do in this third dimension because you're a light being. There's only truth. You communicate with other spirits and other souls by simply telepathy. You can't hide from God. You can't hide anything. Everything you think about is transmitted instantaneously to the other soul that you're with. You can travel anywhere you want on this planet, anywhere in this solar system, to other galaxies, other solar systems, in this universe or other universes. I time travel all the time. It's easy and fun once you learn how to do it. But it's much, much lighter. And trying of all the planets in this universe, my friends, Earth is the toughest one to affect any kind of positive change. This is the toughest one. It's like trying to run a marathon in mud. You can do it.
Yeah, it's going to be tiring.
It's not easy.
Shoes.
It's just not easy to do it, but we're doing it. And people, and the thing I think about the truckers in Canada, they're not sitting in front of the TV set 24/7 watching MSNBC or CBC up in Canada. They listen to the news and make up their own decisions in their own minds. That's why they were free. They were able to break free of the matrix. But it's coming here. There's a huge caravan now coming to DC. But look at the mass media. They're focusing on Ukraine, which I consider a non-event.
Exactly.
A couple of weeks ago, they had a story on Biden's new cat. Okay, that was important to them. Everything else going on.
I feel
But
bad for the cat.
I feel sorry for the cat. Yeah, but
Me too.
animal cruelty.
Aw.
But I
Irish
get a lot of information from my angels. I talk to them all the time. They give me a lot of information. And being here on the show today gives me strength and hope too, because I had some tough issues to deal with recently. It's all nice.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little tired of being locked down all the time, but anyway, it is what it is. So.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
time limited, right? It's going to get better.
Yeah, it will. Yeah. Yeah. It will.
Now, a lot of people are talking about this disclosure. And of course, we've been talking about that since back in the dark ages, almost for some of us. But there is a plan. The governments, they have their own plan. They have Operation Blue Beam and other things that involves holographic projection of ships flying through the air. And there are other plans. But what do you see for the purpose of disclosure happening? When could we expect? I know there's no date stamp on that one, but what do you see happening in the future? Because it will happen, whether by our means or by their means, it will happen.
By 2025, the Pleiadians will, as long as we're a peaceful, harmonious planet, the Pleiadians will be walking among us in some areas of the planet, not all, but because we'll be in fifth dimension. By 2024, the people of Telos underneath Mount Shasta will also be walking around us as well, as long as the planet has shifted into a place of peace and harmony. And peace and harmony are both prerequisites before you go into the higher dimensions. So I do see that happening. Actually, there's already been disclosure from the 50s and 60s, starting with Star Trek. It's been soft disclosure. If you're waiting for the government, somebody like Trudeau or, what's his name? Joe, starts with a B last name. He's not.
Brandon.
Forget him.
Yeah, let's go Brandon. Brandon, right. If you're waiting for a guy like him to give disclosure, you could wait. You could pass away before he actually does anything. But it'll be taken out of their hands. Don't look for governments to talk about disclosure. Look for a lot of things come through the media in telling them what it's about and your own personal experiences. The Pleiadians right now, for example, have 2.5 million ships around the planet, and they're all beaming high energy frequencies to this planet. So we all wake up. That's one of the reasons why the truckers, the whole thing just took off, and the American truck convoys taken off too. In Canberra in Australia, I had a friend reporting there from last Monday, Saturday. There was something like 15 to 18% of the Australian population, which was in Canberra, of the whole country. Now, suddenly all these mandates in Australia are also dropping as well. And government leaders are getting arrested. And the mandatory programs are getting stopped. So, I mean, that does have an effect. Don't listen to negative people who say, oh, protest is not going to do any good. It does do good. It does do good, and they do listen because they want to stay in office so they can drink their coffee and eat those donuts and get that nice retirement account and retire and live in North Korea. That's where they want to do. Mm-hmm. So
now, when you are in contact with these other entities, maybe a little bit about how you do it, or how can other people also learn how to do this so that maybe they can make contact?
Okay. Well, I've got their phone numbers right now. Let me check my cell phone. I've got a couple of phone numbers. There's galactic charges apply, but
it's okay with me.
All right. If you want to contact the Galactics, well, let me. The Pleiadians are a beautiful group of people. They're in the fifth, sixth dimensions. Many of us are seeded from the Pleiades. They're humans just like us, except they're just in the higher dimension. And if you want to contact them, put your hand over your heart and send them some love and light. And they appreciate that. And thank them for all the service they're providing to humanity now. They have 2.5 million ships circling the planet. Send lots of love and light to my good friend Pleiadian Admiral Halosaurus. He's in charge of the 2.5 million ship contingent on this planet. He's been gone from Alcone. They're based in Alcone, Alcyone, in the Pleiades constellation. They've been gone, I think, about 6 years or so, 7 years. And they'll be here until through the Ascension to make sure we're doing okay. You can do that. You can contact the Galactic Alliance, which is like the United Nation of planets. There's 450 million planets in the Galactic Alliance, all benevolent, mostly, but not all human, mostly human, not all. And all of them are service to others and not service to self. And you can do that through saying the hue. There's a reason why we're called humans. And the hue is an ancient meditation sound. And if you say that 3 times, Nikola Tesla, who I'm also in contact with, said that that's key, 3, 6, 9, 12. If you say the hue 3 times, I'm going to bring him in now. You'll bring him right in.
Cool.
And one more time. Hue. They're here. Yeah, they're here. They're here. I don't deal with negative entities. I stay away from them. I put my shields up every day. And I don't contact them. So the other thing is that if you go to Mount Shasta, if you want to contact the people of Telos, instead of one hand, like the Pleiadians, they put 2 hands over their heart and send them lots of love and light. They're actually escapees from the Lemurian civilization that imploded 12,500 years ago after the Atlanteans blew it up. And when I go to Shasta, a lot of people on my trips get miracle healings. I myself, my eyesight was restored to 2010 vision after I had 20/50 in one of my eyes years ago.
Wow.
And then I had a new heart put in. And I've seen 3 or 4 people cured, several people cured of Lyme's disease. I've seen several people whose eyesight's been restored. I saw a man back in 18 cured completely of Lou Gehrig's disease.
Wonderful.
He'd flown from Austria to be on the trip with his girlfriend. Flew a long ways. And we were sitting around this sacred site, this portal on Mount Shasta. We're all praying for him to get better. And suddenly, after about 20, 25 minutes, he stands up and runs back to his car about 1.5 miles, 2 miles away, runs back to his car. He was like almost 80 years old. He hadn't ran in several decades. And he was completely healed. Never forget that. Never forget that. But once you tie into the power of God, we all have the power of the supreme being and creator within us. You can accomplish miracles. Miracles are called miracles just because we can't understand how they work, but they do work. They operate in a higher dimension to affect changes here in this dimension here. So
There's probably a spiritual science behind it.
there is actually. The next time I'm aboard I have quarters up on the Pleiadian ship, and on deck 20, I think it's 24 or 26. They have they've got what they call a wisdom room, where it's like a library. You sit down in these big fluffy chairs, and a screen comes down, and it's in midair. It's not being held by anything, and you can't see it. And you send a thought to it, and it'll open up, and you can watch any event or learn about any event in the present or past. You can also go into the future too. And that would be something to ask next time I'm up on the ship. So thank you. I usually spend a long time in there. It's always nice. So
Yeah.
Sounds wonderful.
and like most libraries, you got to be quiet.
Shh. So tonight is the State of the Union. Do you guys know that?
Oh, from what's his name?
Yeah, he's gonna be acting. Yeah.
God, I hope he doesn't fall asleep. I don't know.
I'd rather see him fall asleep. That would be more interesting.
Yeah. All right. Right.
Maybe
No, I
we
don't.
could maybe we could send his heart love.
I don't know if clones will accept it, but it's possible. I mean,
Really?
why not? Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot of respect for him. He's fake.
I know.
And I've got so many things to do, and I don't consider it very important to listen to him, but I know some people will. So anyway.
Yeah.
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 I
Now,
just wanted to
when are
say
you
to
going?
every.
When are you going to go to Mount Shasta again? When was that?
I'm going at the end of June and end of August. You guys are welcome to come along with me if you like. So
That would be
That's
amazing.
what I was thinking.
okay, great. If you want more information, just send me an email to outofthisworld1150@gmail.com. I'm happy to send you information. You have to be cleared by the Telosians and the Pleiadians before you come, but you guys will be fine, they said. But I've had negative entities come on the trip trying to disrupt things, but I screen people pretty carefully nowadays, and nobody gets through who shouldn't be there. So anyway,
That sounds good. Tell us a little more about how they can get a hold of you, your websites and your books also, because this is something that people need to know.
oh, thank you, Augie. Well, to order my Messages from the Masters book, you can go to my website, Out of This World Readings. That's plural.com, and it's there. The first page is about the readings and the mentoring program, but you flick to it does need to be updated because I have new dates for the trips this year. But the books there, other things there. I have a tuning fork available as well. This is a 528 hertz tuning fork. It's a love tuning fork. When you hit
Nice.
this Lemurian crystal from Mount Shasta with this love tuning fork, you spread love everywhere. You can hear it.
That's
It's kind of
wonderful.
fun. It raises your vibration. And what happens when I go there? This is just $55 if you'd like one, and the book's $21 on postage, a little extra. After I go there, I'm always in a high vibrational state for weeks after, sometimes months afterwards, because that energy comes with me. I've also been going to Sedona recently. I'll be going to Sedona early May and middle of September too. Sedona's there's also portals to the Hollow Earth in Sedona, and there's tons of different ley lines and portals, time travel portals in Sedona that I've run into. And it's not very expensive. It's $200 for the trip for Mount Shasta, free camping included, and the Sedona trip is also $200. So, but I'm happy to send information on that. And then with luck, I'll be going to Peru in October. And Mexico, I was thinking about June, but I have to see what the border's like. Because the Teotihuacan, Pyramid of the Moon, Pyramid of the Sun, there are also entrances as well to the Hollow Earth there. And I've also contacted a Mayan shaman in the Yucatan Peninsula who said he would show me and my group places into the Hollow Earth there as well. There's places called notes, which are freshwater aquatic pools in the Yucatan Peninsula. It's very beautiful, but those lead into the Hollow Earth as well. And he said he'd show me and my group where they are. And it's not very expensive. You can fly from one part of Mexico to another for $50 one way. And they don't have all the restrictions that we have up here. It's like a normal country. They were never shipped. And they don't have, it's normal. Yeah, it is normal there. Yeah. And I love the Mexicans and people of Central and South America because they wear their emotions on their heart, and they're very honest, very loving, caring people. I like that,
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah,
but
that's good.
Them,
Wonderful.
But we're all in this together. We're all sparks of God, if you will, the Supreme Being. And I appreciate you, as all of you listening today and your listeners, for helping to make this world a better place. It's really a labor of love. I started my show back in, when was it? It was early November on my birthday, 2013. It was a labor of love because I was out of a job at the time. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. I practiced law for many years, but really didn't like it. I got tired of people asking me to lie, steal, and cheat for them. I was earning good money, but I wasn't happy. And so, it's a long story, everything that happened. And a homeless man in a library in Seattle came up to me one day when I was there reading a book. And he said, "Ted, you need to start your own radio show and start writing books." And then I had the same message a month later with another fellow pimp. Somebody I didn't even know told me the same thing. And then I asked my guides, I said, "Well, how am I going to do this? I love radio and I don't know how to do it." But then, as luck would have it, I was guided to a lady who was best friends with a station manager in Seattle, KKNW, and I met with him. In 45 minutes, I signed a contract for my own show, not really knowing what I was doing, but I was guided by it. And I said, what about the money? It costs money to put these shows on the air. And they said, don't worry about it. Make it nonprofit and you'll get the donations. And I haven't looked back since. It's just been donation based ever since. And now my last show, I had a little over 40 million listeners in over 100 countries, but it's really taken off. I'm on BBS, and also in the United States, I'm on BBS, and then in Austria, I'm on Radio Soul International, Vienna, in German and English. So I do that on Mondays.
Well, thank you for what you do. My God, I mean, just amazing stuff. The work that you're doing is so important right now. So grateful for you.
Thank you, my friend. Well,
yeah.
I thank you. Well, we're all in this together, and we all have to help each other out. I mean, I do readings for people, and if people can't afford, I mean, like I charge, what is $100 for a full hour, but if you can't afford that, I often will do it for free or discounted. I don't care. I like to be of service to people,
Yeah, you're so sweet.
So if I can help others, it makes me feel good. That's what makes me feel good,
I'm with you. Well, we're out of time. We're actually over time.
Oh, what a shame. Time goes so fast.
I know it does. Thank you so much. And you're going to have to come back again.
Thank you, my friends.
Absolutely.
Well, you're all such beautiful people. And from my heart to yours, thank you so much for having me on today. You're doing God's work today. And
yes.
I appreciate you so much. So
thank you.
But people want to contact me, they can send me an email to outofthisworld1150@gmail.com. My website is outofthisworld1150.com. I'll also have a show on BBS Radio at their website, which is bbsradio.com/out-of-this-world radio. So, and anyway, yeah, so nice to see you today.
Thank you.
All right.
So
much love to all of you. Okay. All right.
Thank you very much for being with us. This was wonderful.
Much love to you guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much.